Okay, I'm just gonna get started. If Lindsay pops back in, I'll show her too. So we're gonna talk about Fitme plates today. I know Julie and Raquel and Natika have been doing Fitme plates for a while. So they can
Same
help me
here.
out if they have anything to say. Nancy's fairly new, but I think she's probably got the hang of them as well. Lindsay and Gayleen are brand new to Fitme as far as coaching. Lindsay, you said you did the challenge. And Gaylena, have you done anything with Fitme yet, or you're brand new?
I'm brand new.
Okay, so what the Fitme plate is, it actually, I don't know if any of y'all know this or how it started, was we had a client that wanted accountability around balanced, healthy plates. And so we created a game for her, or Christy created a game, and it was a 100 plate Fitme plate challenge. We had a little coloring, really cute coloring paper to keep track of our plates. And then we were all working to get our Fitme plates in. It was a learning experience at the beginning because a lot of us weren't really sure what a Fitme plate was, what counts as a carb. That's the biggest question I think most people have. What's a fat and a healthy fat? And so we did this, and I was looking, I've actually taken pictures of my plates for years since we did that challenge, and I was looking through them the other day on my phone, and some of my first Fitme plates were sandwiches. I was getting my carb with bread, which is not bad. But that's what I thought was a good rounded plate, was a sandwich. But I was working a job where I needed to have quick food. And so that was really my only option at that point. But it's interesting to see the evolution of the plate as you go on with time, and how easy it becomes. So Fitme plate, like I said, it's kind of the foundation of the nutrition in Fitme. We talk about it a lot. You'll hear it in the Facebook group. You'll hear it all over the place. Usually when we begin doing our Fitme plates, it's a little bit challenging, like I said, but if you can get one plate in a day, you're winning. If you can get two, that's even better. 3 is kind of hard for a lot of people. So I kind of want to talk about what a Fitme inspired plate is too. Some people will talk about Fitme inspired. But what I want to say as kind of a disclaimer is it's not a diet. It's not something that you have to do. And if you don't do it right, it's not failure. You can make all different combinations. Nothing is wrong. There are no wrong foods. There's no bad foods. Sometimes you just can't get a Fitme plate in, and that's okay as well. You try the next meal, or you try with your next snack to get some of the components in. But it's kind of a fun thing to get used to. You can build them at home. You can build them to go. You can build them at restaurants. Once you get used to it, it gets easier and easier. And you can even, figure it out with different things on the menu at a restaurant. When you travel and you go visit somebody, I take a container of spinach with me because there's never enough vegetables at my mom's house. And so I'll take my container of spinach and add it to my plate whenever I feel like I need more greens. So with that said, I'm going to just kind of tell you, I'm in my kitchen, so I've got some stuff. One of my hacks, so this is a regular dinner plate. If you make a Fitme plate on this, it's going to feel like you don't have any food on your plate. I like to use a plate this size. It's like the next smaller size, because to me, visually, it just feels like I have more food. It feels more satisfying. And a lot of times when you use a bigger plate, your portions get a little bit bigger than they probably should be. Certain things it's okay. Others you might want to minimize just a little bit. So I like to go with a smaller plate. So the star of your plate should always be your protein. And you can do anything for protein. You can do fish, you can do chicken, beef, shrimp, eggs. You don't have to have eggs for breakfast. You don't have to have chicken for dinner. You can mix and match. Some people have dinner foods for breakfast, and that's okay too. So if you're struggling with eating eggs every day for breakfast, try doing chicken, rice, and broccoli for breakfast and see how you like it. So your protein's your star. You want it to be about the size of your palm. That's a regular size of protein. If you've had your metabolism review and they asked you to increase your protein size, a lot of times it's a palm and a half. So if you get a chicken breast and a half. A chicken thigh, I usually do 2 small chicken thighs. I have some chicken. These are chicken tenders. So if you put them on your hand, 2 of them is about the size of a palm. So that would be a serving. If you're doing extra protein, do 3 of them. And put those on your plate first. It takes up about a quarter of your plate. This is cold food, it's not hot. I'm gonna eat it for lunch tomorrow, so I'll touch it. But it's almost a quarter of your plate, depending on the protein that you choose. But you wanna put that on your plate first. The second thing you put on your plate is your vegetable. Half of your plate should be vegetables. Now, when I make my breakfast, I cook my vegetables because I don't like them raw. Unless it's runny eggs over spinach, I can eat that raw. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll imagine a plate. If I'm doing like a scramble, I'll imagine the size of the plate on the cutting board and I'll fill up what would be half of that with the raw vegetables. And then when you cook it down, it always wilts down to almost nothing, but you know you still got your veggies. So let me do this. You guys see it? So this is your plate. This is your protein. Then you're going to put your vegetable. This is just spinach, half of it. And you can always do more than half. I like to just get a big handful. If I'm doing like roasted broccoli or Brussels sprouts, I fill it up halfway with my cooked vegetable. And then the third thing you put on your plate is your carb, and you can do, it should be a carb from the ground, about the size of your fist. I use a half cup to measure my rice because I can go heavy on rice. I love rice, but I use a half cup to kind of measure out what is a fist size. You can also use like a spoon that seems like it's about that big to measure it out as well. Carb from the ground means anything that's as close to the ground, or it doesn't have to come from the ground, it could come from a tree. So it could be rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes. It could be oatmeal, fruit. A lot of people will forget about the fruit, but then in the summertime, everybody wants to have berries and all kinds of good fruits. Pineapple is one of my favorite. And so I'll on my plate. So I have rice and I just measure with my cup, my half cup. I should have a spoon to do this, but I don't. And I put that on my plate. So you can kind of see what it looks like. Let's see. You see it? So it's a quarter and a half. Your vegetable should be half, your protein about a quarter, and then your carb about a quarter of your plate. And then the last thing you want to add is a healthy fat. And it could be any like oils that you cook your food in. You don't always have to add fat on top of what you're eating unless you want to, or you're trying to get extra fat in. Sometimes it's the oil I cook my food in. I have these little avocado cups that you can use. They're like portioned out. or sometimes I'll just use half an avocado and cut it up and dice it. If I do this plate and it's like a salad, you can do like a vinaigrette dressing, that would be your fat. If you choose cheese, that could be your fat. Sometimes I like bacon on my, like in my egg scrambles. So with breakfast, you do get fat from your egg yolks. You also can get your fat from any additives like cheese or bacon that you add on. If you want to decrease the fat, you could always go for more egg whites rather than whole eggs. So those are some ideas too for a Fitme plate. Does anybody have any questions so far as what it looks like or how to build a plate? Lindsay, Galena, you guys okay?
What about whole wheat bread? I like that for breakfast.
Yeah. So what they consider Fitme inspired usually contains a different carb than a carb from the ground. So that would be your breads, tortillas. Some people like to have taco night. And so the tortillas would be the Fitme inspired part. It's nothing wrong with it. Some people love to have bread and that's fine. It's just a little bit more processed than like the actual carb that you get directly from the earth. You know what I mean? But there's nothing wrong with it. I love to have bread every once in a while too with my breakfast. We had for dinner, my kids love pasta and they wanted fettuccine Alfredo with chicken in it. And so what I did to create my plate, my Fitme inspired plate, is I got my pasta bowl and I filled it with spinach, just like raw spinach like this. And then I put the noodles on top. And I was careful with my portion because I could eat a lot of noodles too. I didn't get, I guess like they were saying half a cup of pasta is a serving. Mine was probably closer to like a cup and a half because I love pasta. But I put the noodles on top of the raw spinach and then I put the sauce and I made sure I got a lot of chicken for protein. So the sauce would be my fat, the chicken would be my protein, the pasta would be my carb, and then my spinach would be my veggie.
I have a thing about pasta. Because I like pasta too, but in order to keep the portion size right, I always measure it and weigh it out when it's dry. So there's usually 3 of us eating it. So I weigh 3 portions out and I only cook 3 portions. And then I divvy it up into 3 bowls because it's, most pasta it's 56 ounces or 56 grams dry is the portion size for pasta, which ends up being about a cup and a half, depending on the pasta that you're using. So,
Yeah, I did macros a long time ago before Fitme, and I never ate pasta because I was so confused with the conversion of dry pasta to cooked pasta. So I just avoided it altogether. I didn't even want to deal with it.
That's why you measure it before you cook it.
Yeah. And now I just eyeball it. I try and get about a cup and a half of pasta, but I always put it over some kind of a vegetable. Does anybody have any questions?
When you're measuring out oil, your fats for your oil, is there a rule to go by?
So, I forgot. Sorry. It's a thumb size. So if you're doing an oil, it's probably about a tablespoon, probably is a thumb size. 1 ounce of cheese, I think, is a thumb size. A tablespoon of butter would be that serving as well. You want to make sure that you're getting fat. You don't want to leave the fat out because you need it for your hormones. And so As women, a lot of us want to cut all the fat out, but it's actually really good for you. So don't cut fat out. Just try and go for more healthy fats and oils. Sour cream. I like to put sour cream sometimes on some food.
With foods like cottage cheese, where there's
Mhm.
fat and protein, is there any sort of rule of thumb with that? As long as, I mean, I'm really good
So-
at reading labels and stuff.
Yeah. So you look at the portion of fat, carb, or protein and whatever it is, and whatever, like hummus. I think hummus, they consider more, a lot of people will use it as a protein, but it's really more of a fat and a carb. Cottage cheese, I think, has more protein in it than carbs, so that would be considered your protein, a protein source. Yeah. So kind of, you have to kind of look at the 3 macros and see which, when you're reading the label, to see what it has more of. Nut butters are more of a fat than a protein. So if you add that to a snack, you really want to pay attention, especially if you're trying to lose weight, how much nut butters and peanuts or any kind of nut that you're eating. Make sure that you're getting a portion size rather than a handful, because it could really add up.
Yeah, I love peanut butter and I can eat it by the spoonful. And the next thing I know, a half a jar is gone. So
Yeah, peanut butter is a
I've
hard
learned to
one.
weigh it out.
Because
Because even if you estimate, you can always get more.
yeah. And like, see, an apple, like a medium-sized apple, is about the size of your fist. So that would be your carb. For my lunch tomorrow, I'm probably, I don't know if I want the rice or if I want the apple. I've had rice a lot this week. And so I might choose an apple instead. Because that's a good carb that you can have to consider from the ground, because the tree comes from the ground.
Where does, never mind. I see, I missed my notes. I was gonna ask about green, well, I guess I could, the green vegetables as far as a carb source. I know some are higher in carbs than other. Is there a stay away from because of
No,
the carb?
there's nothing really green vegetables or vegetables that you stay away from. Some vegetables I consider a carb rather than a veggie. Like if I have corn with my meal, I'll use that, since it's a starchy vegetable. I'll use that as my carb rather than my veggie. But the amount of carbs you get from a lot of the vegetables is so small. It's better to just fill up your plate with vegetables, especially if you're not used to eating them. The more vegetables you eat, the better. You can't go overboard with veggies. You can't go overboard with protein. Those are the 2 that you really want to make sure that you're getting. You can go overboard with carbs. That's easy. But like I said, I use a half cup to measure. You don't have to. When I do potatoes, roasted potatoes, I don't typically measure those out. I just kind of eyeball a quarter of my plate.
One of the things that I've struggled with in the past, because I'm coming from the world of keto, where I was really successful and then COVID derailed me. So I definitely have this, like, carbs are bad mentality sometimes, but I really struggle with protein. And I know that protein is obviously a focus, but if I'm
Yeah.
not getting enough protein in, like, if I get too much, I feel like I'll gag. So I don't know
Are
if
you
anybody has
doing, are you talking protein from meat sources that makes you gag?
hmm I can't, like chicken, I can't stomach very well, only on
Okay.
occasion.
I mean, you
And I
can
can't do
get,
ground turkey, that kind of stuff.
you can get protein from a lot of different sources. Like you said, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt has is a good protein source. You can even do protein powders. That's okay. Nothing wrong with a good protein powder. A lot of people will do a protein shake in the morning for breakfast, especially at the beginning when they're getting used to eating breakfast. And you can even throw your greens in there, and they tell me it tastes great, but I haven't tried it yet. Then you can't taste the spinach.
I used to put spinach in my kids' strawberry milkshakes. to get
And they
greens in
didn't
them.
taste it?
No,
Couldn't tell?
it's just a handful. It's just enough to
Yeah.
add some greens to their diet. And then when they saw me making it one day, they freaked out. I said, I've been doing this all along. You won't even know it's there.
Yeah.
But I struggled when I first started eating breakfast. And so I had cottage cheese and yogurt every day for breakfast. And I would just mix them together. My biggest issue is cottage cheese has too much sodium in it for my body. My body doesn't like it. So I just stopped eating it. So now I eat oatmeal for breakfast with collagen in it and put Greek yogurt on the side. So just for some added protein.
Is there any proteins you do like, Lindsay, that you can stomach?
Oh yeah, I like bacon. I like steak. I like pork. I mean, I like chickpeas. I know that depending on that could be, and I'll
Mhm.
make my own hummus. I like to be hands-on in the kitchen. But yeah, I prefer fattier meats. I like thighs over breasts,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. But
Yeah,
I just don't
yeah.
feel confident in cooking. It's either overdone or it tastes like dried out and no flavor.
You know what I did that has helped me a lot with my cooking, especially when it comes to chicken breast, is I got me a thermometer, and it's a digital thermometer, and I set it to chicken and I check to make sure, and I make sure that I take it out when it beeps rather than leaving it just a little longer. And the chicken does stay a lot juicier if you don't overcook it that way. I started cooking in a cast iron skillet, and I really like, and with different seasonings, I'll season them different all the time. But I really like the flavor of the chicken, like chicken tenders or chicken breasts when they're cooked in the cast iron. I don't know why, it just tastes better to me.
Can you share your thermometer that you got?
Yeah,
I did get one and it makes a world of a difference, at least in my steaks. The chicken I'm still not digging, but
I
my
need to get a
husband got it.
thermometer.
I think he got it on Amazon, and it's actually a two probe thermometer. It's like a little digital one. I don't know if you could see it, but maybe I'll take I don't know. I'll ask him where he got it. It's called Therm Pro, but it's really cool because it has two of these probes with the big long thing. So if you're cooking in the oven, it's got magnets, and you can put it on the outside of the oven and leave the little thermometer inside. So you could do it that way, but I just poke the chicken, and then it has different readings. It has chicken, pork, beef, and then it's got the temperature. And so you just put it in there, and if it beeps at you, it'll tell you what temperature your meat is at. And then when you reach that temperature, it beeps at you. So then I just take it out. But it's really cool. I like it.
This is the one that I got. It's just a magnetic one. That really helps.
I have one like that too, but I still tend to overcook things. So I think something I can just put in there and have it read me the temperature as it's cooking would be ideal.
I've never left it in the pan because I cook on the stove. I suppose you could, but in the oven, it's supposed to go into the oven, and then it's got this long thing that goes outside. But I've never tried it with the oven because I usually just cook in the pan on the stove.
I'll have to try it.
I roast a lot of my vegetables. My kids like them roasted. They don't like steamed vegetables. So I use the convection setting on my oven so that I could do 2 to 3 pans at one time. And I do like a whole sheet pan of roasted potatoes, a whole sheet pan of roasted broccoli, and then I'll do like some Brussels sprouts, and I put them all in at the right time. Usually the Brussels sprouts and the potatoes cook around the same time. It's like 20-30 minutes. And then the broccoli's like 15. So I just kind of put them in when it's time, and then they're all done at the same time. It's kind of great. But
If you've never made
go ahead.
If you've never made air fryer carrots, you need to make air fried carrots. I like a whole pound of those whole two. I love my air fryer. I cook in it every day. I take 2 pounds of carrots and I put a little olive oil on them and a little salt, pepper on them, and I mix it all around and put it in the air fryer at 400 for 20 minutes. And halfway through, I shake the pan. And They're perfect every time.
I air
They're the
fried my
best.
green beans the other day and they were so good.
I don't use my air fryer enough. I just use it to heat. I should use it more.
What is the expectation on liquids?
Liquids, like how much water you should be drinking, or
Water, and I'm not like a juice person and I don't drink milk. But
so
adult
one of
beverages.
one of the Fitme basics is we try not to drink our calories just because we want to drink more water than like sugar calories, wine, alcohol, anything, soda, all of that. If you can eliminate it to some point, that's great. If you can't, do it slow. Your water target is going to be, have you figured out your water target yet?
I mean, I would say it was half my body weight.
Half your body weight
ounces.
plus 15 is usually what your water target is. And then if you're real active, you want to add 20 ounces of water for every hour of activity you do. So a lot of people aren't drinking water. And when they figure out their water goal, it's a lot of water. And so you want to start slow, figure out where you're at and slowly increase. Like if you can increase 24 ounces every week, that's great. If you do it every couple of days, that's great. But your body's going to start to adjust. The biggest complaint is you go to the bathroom a lot at the beginning, and eventually your body adjusts and you find that you won't have to go as much. If you do decide that you want to have soda or you want to have a glass of wine, that's okay. It's your choice. If you're trying to lose weight, you probably want to limit how much calories you're taking in with liquids. I would say aside from a protein shake, we wouldn't call that drinking our liquids. That's nutrition. Does that answer your question, Lindsay?
Yeah, that definitely does. I think the only other thing outside of that, like if I had a protein shake and I used almond milk instead of water, would
That's-
that count towards
yeah.
my protein still? I mean, it's not a lot usually, but
Yeah, I would say so. I make my protein shake with almond milk, protein powder. I add some PB2 in it and some frozen bananas. And so it's like a good milkshake. A banana peanut butter milkshake. It's so good. But I use it almond milk to add a little bit more protein in. That's fine. Yeah. Anybody else have any more questions?
Lindsay, I used to drink every Friday a bottle of wine to end my work week, and I would have another one on Saturday to appreciate my Saturday. So to break the habit, I started drinking sparkling water in my wine glass. So that helped tremendously. I still drink occasionally, but I mean, I have to drink so much water, there's not much room left. So once you start hitting your water target, you won't have room left for anything else. And as for the Fitme plate, I do bowls. I eat a lot of my food in a bowl and I layer it. I'll have veggies, carbs. So it'll be Brussels sprouts. My favorite breakfast is Brussels sprouts, rice or roasted potatoes, and eggs, scrambled, easy over soft, whatever. In a bowl, it looks more filling because it's a bowl. It looks more full. So that's what I eat. I'll eat my dinner that way, broccoli, rice, and shrimp in a bowl. It looks more filling than on a plate. So that's my tip.
I love that sparkling water idea. I don't drink during the weekdays, but I do live in a town where we like to go out. And so I think that'll help a little bit. So thank you.
And when I go out, I drink, a real drink, a martini, and then I will have a glass of water. So for every martini I drink, I have to drink a glass of water. It slows down the martinis tremendously.
Awesome.
Good tip. I can't drink anymore. I used to do the same. I used to drink wine after work. I would open a bottle on the weekend, and then after work, I'd get a glass of wine after a hard day. Not every day, but that's what I would do. And once I start drinking my water, and then I went back to alcohol, I noticed the difference. I was more sluggish. It would burn my stomach for some reason. I would get a lot of like aching in my stomach while I was drinking it. So I just one day stopped buying it. If I have it, it's at somebody else's house if they're serving. Beer makes me feel bloated. I do like it, but it makes me feel really bloated. We've never been soda drinkers in my house because my husband is diabetic, and so we don't keep soda, but we did switch to sparkling water, which we had never done before. I always thought it was gross. And I couldn't get used to it, but I found one that I liked, and so we have sparkling water now. And sometimes I'll even take it with me whenever we go to family's house. If I know they're all going to be drinking wine, I'll just open my sparkling water. Does anybody else have any questions before we wrap up? No? If you do, you can go ahead, Gaylena.
I know you said at least one Fitme plate a day. What's idea? I mean, what's the ideal
Amount? 1 to 2 Fitme plates? Is that what you're talking about?
Mhm.
I would say if you're starting off and you've, had a lot of, eating out, fast food, try and replace one of your meals with 1 Fitme plate and see how you do. Work your way up to 2. 1 to 2 is typical. If you're getting 3 Fitme plates a day, then you're doing really, really well. The other thing is snacks. Some people ask, what do we eat for snacks? And really you can have anything for a snack. Mini Fitme plates are good. You can do like a lettuce wrap with a little bit of chicken and avocado, anything like a small version of a Fitme plate. You do your veggies and add a fat to it, like hummus or even ranch dressing. Sometimes I'll do that. When you're eating your snacks, try not to eat a carb by itself, because then you'll just have a sugar spike and then you'll just want more sweet stuff. So pair your carbs with either a protein or a fat. I like to do a fruit with my Greek yogurt. Sometimes I'll even add some granola to it.
I follow the Glucose Goddess on Instagram, and she talks a lot about pairing the proteins or apple cider vinegar or walks and how it changes that. That's a really cool resource.
The green goddess?
Glucose Goddess.
Glucose goddess. What's green goddess?
She's
Isn't
really
that a
good. She does
dressing?
It is, yeah. No, but she does a lot of research, and she shows you graphs of like how like rice with apple cider vinegar, or if you have to consume a donut, take a 10-minute walk afterwards, and it shows you like the spike length decreases, that kind of stuff.
Interesting. I'll have to check it out. All right, ladies. Thanks for coming. If you guys have questions, you can always drop them in the Facebook group too, in the community. You'll get lots of responses, lots of advice and answers.
Welcome, ladies.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your week, you guys.
Bye.
See you guys next week.
Bye.